Hi, my name is Pastor Lois, and I want to talk a little bit about being blessed to lead straight and being the head of your family. When my children were little, we were living in Wales, and I'd had this strong desire that I just so wanted to be a blessing. I so wanted to serve God with everything that I had. I wanted my life to mean something and to count for something. And I was just looking around me, and my days were just filled with diapers and disciplining and breaking up fights and cleaning and providing food and entertaining. And I just thought, how can I be pleasing God? I'm not doing anything for God. And I can remember we heard that there was this preacher coming, and he was supposed to be very anointed. And I just thought, I have to get to this service because I have to hear from God. I'm so desperate. I felt like I was disappointing God. And so my husband was leading the worship, so he went on ahead. And then, you know what it's like, mums, when you're trying to get ready for a service and then you're trying to get them in the car. And by the time you got them in the car, one's already thrown up. So you have to take them out of the car, and then you get back indoors and change them. And then you do the journey there. And by the time you've got there, one's pooped his diaper and the other one's stuck something up the other one's nose. And you're stressed by the time that you actually get into the church. But I got into the back of this little Welsh chapel, and I sat on this little wooden pew at the back, and I was sitting on the edge of my chair. I said, Lord, I'm so desperate. I just want to be a blessing. I just want my life to please you. And so everything was going swimmingly well until the man got up to preach. And then my kids started. One poked the other one, and then the other one poked the baby, and then the baby started screaming, and then they started screaming. So I ended up having to gather them up and take them outside. And by this time, it was tipping down with rain. It was pouring down with rain. So now I'm walking up and down outside this little chapel in the pouring rain, and I am bawling. And I'm just crying out, saying, Lord, it's not fair. It's just not fair. I so wanted to hear from you. I so want to please you, and I'm out here in the rain. It's just not fair. And then eventually, after walking up and down for a long time, two little ones fell asleep. So I kind of thought, you know what, the service is over, but I'll just get into the back of the chapel. So I walked into the back of the chapel, and I can remember I was just standing there on this tiled floor, and I was dripping and I was soaking wet. And suddenly the man preaching, and I don't even know his name, but he suddenly looked up and he pointed down the aisle at me, and he just went, you say it's not fair. You say it's not fair. How can you say it's not fair when you are doing what I called you to do? And at that moment, I got the biggest butt whoop and hug from God in one that I have ever had, because at that moment, I understood when you are doing what God calls you to do, then you are pleasing Him, and that's where you can be blessed. So from that moment on, I was just free from that. I just said, you know what? Then I'm going to serve God in my home with everything I have. As He pours into me, I'm going to pour out into my kids, and I'm going to give this everything that I have. And the interesting thing was that from that moment, actually God started bringing me people and families that needed help, people that were wanting consideration and help and advice and things like that. So I then became, out of the overflow of being blessed, I was able to bless them. And now my children are older, and the eldest two are married, and they've got families of their own. I'm able to see the fruit of that as they're pouring into their marriages and into their children. So I just want to encourage you, ladies, if you're in that position and you just feel like you're just a mom, no, you're not just a mom. You're fulfilling the call of God on your life. You are leading your family straight, and that is so important. And you are blessed to be a blessing to your children, and you'll be blessed to others.